Hello students, again welcome in the new session of research methodology. In the last session we were talking about data analysis, and in this session we will talk about preparation of research report. If we see the sequence of conduction of research, the very first the problem is identified, then objective hypotheses are set, and on the basis of literature of review, we finalize the research methodology by including the research design, sample technique, and method of data collection, use of certain statistical tools and techniques for interpretation and analysis of data. And after analysis of data, the data is presented and we are ready to prepare the research report. So, in this session we will discuss about the research report preparation, and research report is prepared after conduction of the research. It means research has been conducted, and once research has been conducted, then we will start writing the research report. Generally, a research is conducted, and after that either a research paper is written, or a dissertation is written, or a thesis is written. It will depend upon for what purpose the researcher has conducted the research. Suppose the researcher has conducted the research for completion of the PhD program, postdoctorate program, or any other research project program, then in that case the report will be written in the form of thesis when it is PhD or postdoctoral, or a report, research report in case of when it was a research project. Whereas, if research is conducted at the level of PG or in the MPhil, nowadays MPhil has been excluded as a qualification as per new education policy. So, dissertation is a research conducted by the PG student or graduation student, then a detailed report of that research is written, that is dissertation form. Or if a research has been conducted and then this researcher needs to publish it in the journal, then this report will be written in the form of research paper. So, after conduction, research report can be generally written for in three different form, either a research paper, dissertation, or a research thesis or research report. So, once research has conducted and data is collected, data is interpreted, analyzed and put up into the form of results and findings. In the last session, as I told you that there are different methods of data collection. With the help of those methods, we will collect the data, and then the collected data will be analyzed by using the different type of statistical tools. The major two are the descriptive and the inferential statistics. We will interpret the data, and then the interpreted data will be discussed in the light of existing knowledge to authenticate and verify the findings, and these authenticated findings will be presented in the report. So, now let us discuss about how we can write the research report. Now, research report will include, again it will depend for what specific purpose you are writing the report. If you are writing the report after completion of the PhD program or a major or minor research project, then the pattern of research will be different. If you are writing for dissertation, it would be more or less same as it is in the case of PhD thesis or a research report for major or minor project. But in case of research paper writing, that report will be typically different than the research thesis, dissertation or research report. First, we will discuss about the research report written for the purpose of dissertation, thesis or research report, we will discuss that. In that report, the very first element of report is introduction. So, if we want to write the introduction of a research, in that introduction, very first we will describe what this research is and for what purpose this research is conducted, and what are various factors, concepts, phenomena are taken into this in this research. Yes, of course, what is purpose of this research, and taking that into consideration, then one by one we will describe all the different variables, we will describe all the different already existing models related to these variables, we will describe the various terms, various concepts and various descriptions needs to be included in the conduction of research. We will describe all that. Suppose someone has taken 4 variables, then one by one all these variables will be described by the authors, as well as what meaning or what purpose for which variable has been taken is included in this research, that will be described. If there are already existing certain theories, certain approaches, certain models, certain thoughts related to these variables, these concepts, these terms, terminologies, then all these would be included by developing a relevance with the research proposed in the form of topic of the research. I want to specify before student that while writing the introduction chapter, always take care of 2 things: your information, your text, your data included in the introduction should be authenticated. It should not be plagiarized. There are two concepts, that is plagiarism and authentication. Plagiarism means the researcher should not steal or copy paste any of the material from anywhere. Yes, there is permission to use the information, to use the knowledge, or to use the findings of other researches, or to take literature from other researches or other books. For that we must observe the behavior which is being described, the code of behavior being described in the intellectual property rights. So, how the intellectual property rights can be observed, that should be taken care. In the plagiarism, there are basically 3 things. Number 1, it should not be the cut paste from anywhere, excluding in the case of definitions. In the case of definitions, exactly same can be taken, but it should be acknowledged, it should be cited appropriately, or there should not be any paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means you have taken the text and now by changing its language structure you have used it. And third one is idea stealing. Do not steal the idea of others, always take care of that, and to control that, to check that when you are including any material in your introduction. I want to tell all of you that majority of time the problem of authentication of data and problem of plagiarism will happen among 2 major chapters, that is chapter of introduction and chapter of literature review, because in both of them when you are describing various factors, various variables, various terms being used by you, you are taking certain theories and you are taking certain approaches and models from given by other authors or researchers. In that case, you may get involved in the plagiarism, that is, either you will cut and paste it as it is, or you will try to paraphrase it, or some of the idea might be stolen from others. So, we should check it, we should prevent it, and accordingly we should write it. The best way is you read the text properly and then you write it in your language without paraphrasing it, without stealing the idea of others. If it is idea of others, then it should appropriately be acknowledged and cited, and for that there are standards of citation for APA. So, researcher must go through the intellectual property rights for various purposes, for copyright, for patent, and for other objectives also, as well as the researcher must go for the authentication of data. Researcher will see whether the material included in the introduction is authenticated or not, and authentication of data means the researcher findings should be taken from the authenticated researches only. It should not be a fake research, and it should not be a research which is authenticated by using the fake findings and data from other researches. So, the researcher will take care of that, and by this way they will check the plagiarism, and in the plagiarism all the three parts, that is cut paste, paraphrasing and stealing idea. And in the introduction, as I told you, by giving the detail what this research and what purpose this research will serve, and what various concept, various variable factors, phenomena and various theories, models have been included, all these should be described and presented in the introduction chapter in the coherent, synchronized and in a flow, so that at the end of the introduction chapter we can justify that yes, this introduction has given ample understanding about the present research. So, this is very first part of writing the research report. After writing the introduction chapter, most of the time among all different type of researches, like researches for management, researches for social sciences, researches for art subject, and researches for general sciences, technology based researches, everywhere there is need to go for literature review. Literature review is significant to update the knowledge of the person. Literature review is significant for giving the description of existing knowledge related to the topic what has been taken as the topic for the research, and literature review will help us to justify our finding in the light of existing knowledge. So, these are some of the specific objective, and again in the literature review initially you will again describe what is your research, and then what kind of knowledge is available, and what is relevance of that knowledge available with your research or with your research topic. In that, what you will do, initially you will give all that description, and then gradually you will start moving variable wise or the concept wise or the phenomena wise, whatever you have taken into your research, you will suppose you have taken any 4 variables. So, is there any research available related to all these 4 variables? If exact same research is already available, then we should not go for any kind of research, or if you want to even go, then that research will be the authentication of the findings of existing research. In that case, it means you do not agree with the findings and you want to revalidate the findings or revalidate the research. In that case, you can go. Then by taking 3 variables, 2 variables, or even 1 variable, and among different context, whether the research is conducted by using the same kind of sample, or was there any social, cultural, or other kind of differences. So, by this way you will find out the most relevant research available today from by using the technique of literature review. Lot many online literatures are available, and not only that, the books already lying, research thesis, research journals can support you to conduct the literature, and from there you will bring the most relevant researches to your research, and then you will present them the best way. How you can write the literature review? So, while writing the literature review as well introduction, whatever material you have taken, for that you will first take the name of author and the year in which research was conducted, and then third is you will take the citation also. And after taking the citation, you will include 4 things for writing your literature review. Number 1, what was that research? What type of methodology was used for conduction of the research, that is for the authentication of the research. Third, what sampling technique was used for conduction of research, and lastly, what were the finding. All these 4 things. And how it can be done? Again, it is very simple. Whatever research is relevant to your research, go through it properly, and then you must write by yourself what is this research, what method of research was used to conduct this research, and what was sampling technique, what was sample size, and all these things. And then lastly, what were the findings. You will prepare a paragraph of all that, and after preparing that paragraph, you will do this exercise for all the collected relevant studies available present day, and you will organize them in a sequential manner. Sequence may be from the past to the present in the chronology, or from present to the past, depending upon your type of research, or you can present them variable wise. The researches which have included all the variable concept or phenomena among their researches, or then the lesser one and the last one, or you can conduct you can organize them with respect to certain chronological factors or theoretical factors or approaches available. You can prepare your chapter. So, in the beginning you will give a brief introduction, and then you will gradually start talking about what kind of literature is available and what kind of literature you have accessed for writing this literature review, and then you will start presenting one by one whatever most relevant research is on the pattern which I have already told you. You will start putting them, and at the end, once you have included all the relevant researches, now at the end there is turn to find the research gap. Out of all the relevant researches, the most relevant 5 to 7 will be selected, and then either in the tabular form or in the form of paragraph, you will describe what is present status of the research in the tabular form. You will write the name of author, you will write the year in which research was conducted, you will write the topic or title of the research, you will write the finding, and at the end column you will write the relevance. So, in this table you will include the most relevant 5 to 7 researches, and then you will describe how these most latest relevant updated researches are relevant to your research, and how your research is different and why there is need to conduct study on that. This need will describe the gap in knowledge that you will share at the end of review of literature. After presenting this review of literature, you will go for the research gap, you will mention the research gap, and this research gap will help you to develop the research problem, and that research problem will help you to develop the research title. Already in my first session for identification of research problem, I have described, I have explained what is difference between research topic, research problem and research question. In each and every research, we try to reply to a research question or to a question, then this question is converted into a research problem. What, because of what problem we were motivated to conduct the research to find out the solution of that problem, and for that what is topic that will be included. And once we have finalized the research problem, the very next step is we will write the problem, we will develop the objective. The title of research can easily be converted into the major objective, and then this given title or given problem can be broken up into sub problems, 4 or 5 sub problems, which will help us to find out the solution of major problem. In aggregate, some sub problems will be developed, and these sub problems will be converted into the objectives of the research. Major objective of the research is when the major solution will be given, and minor objectives are when the problem is broken up into the sub problems, and these sub problems can be converted into the minor objectives. And once we have written all these objectives can be converted into the hypothesis. So, in the next part of your research report, you will give a well description of your problem, your objectives, your hypothesis. You will include that in your next chapter, and once you have completed that, the next part is the research method or methodology. Using which methodology you will conduct your research, and in the methodology we will use the research design. Which research design will be used for that, and after that, for conduction of research by using this research design, what kind of sampling technique is feasible, that should be described. And once sampling technique is described, then how, by using what kind of method data will be collected, and once the data is collected, then we will give description by using which statistical tools and techniques this data will be interpreted. And once this data is interpreted, then how it would be presented, and how the result and findings will be extracted, and then from these result and findings how it would be described. So, in the chapter of research methodology, we will give complete description of all the research design, then your sampling technique, method of data collection, statistical techniques and tools, and then how it would be described. and after that in the next chapter we will give the results and findings. After analysis of data, then the results and findings will be presented. If the size of research is not very large, then in that case the result, findings and discussion can go simultaneously. If the size or volume of research is larger, then in that case the chapter of result and finding can be separated from the chapter of discussion. In the chapter of result and finding, your results are presented in the form of table, in the form of graph or other methods of presentation, and a detailed description is given what are these results and findings. In the case of discussion, whatever studies were included in the literature review, I want to tell to the student that literature review must be conducted at least 3 times. First, when you are interested to start a research and you want to find out a research problem, you must go for the literature review, and once you have identified the problem, then for writing the research report you should go for literature review again for compilation of the existing studies relevant to your study. Third time, because in the case of research conducted for PhD, there might be chances that already 3 or 4 years have passed and number of people in this world are working in a particular domain or discipline for research conduction. So, there are chances that some new studies might have come. So, third time when you are writing the discussion chapter of your research report on the basis of your result and finding, again go for the literature review, and if you could find some new studies, those studies should also be included in your literature review chapter, as well as these studies must be used to justify your findings, to validate your findings, to verify your findings, or ultimately to authenticate your findings. It is the already existing knowledge which will support you to authenticate, to establish that your findings are yes, correct and verified. So, in the discussion chapter, using one by one all the result and findings should be discussed in the light of the existing knowledge, and then this chapter of discussion is completed. After completion of that, if you are writing this in the form of dissertation, a research report for major or minor research project, or as a thesis for your PhD, then you will write the conclusion. Lastly, in approximately 1000 words, you must write the conclusion, and after writing the conclusion there should be summary. Summary should be written only in the case when you have conducted research for your PhD, because that summary will go to the evaluator, and on the basis of evaluator understanding about that summary, he will decide whether he is capable to evaluate the study or not. So, after writing the conclusion, if research has been conducted for PhD completion, then in that case the research scholar must write the research summary in 1500 to 2000 words by giving all the details, so that if this summary is sent to the evaluator should be capable to understand whether he would be able to evaluate the research thesis or not. After writing the research summary, then next is to write the abstract. Friends, I want to tell all of you, the abstract of your research will be written at the completion of writing of your research report, but it would be included on the very first page of your research. Why? Because abstract can be written only when your research report is complete, and now in say 100 words to 500 words. In case of research paper, 100 words are sufficient, 100 or 150 words are sufficient to write the abstract, whereas in case of dissertation and research report and research thesis, that abstract can be of maximum 300 to 500 words. So, you will write the abstract, and after writing the abstract you will go for the limitation and suggestions. It is not possible to conduct any study in a complete and comprehensive manner. It is there might be certain limitations, there might be certain suggestions. So, the researcher will give the detail of limitations, and those limitations can become the knowledge gap for the conduction of future researches. So, better you write the limitations and parallelly you suggest what you suggest to overcome these limitations. So, after writing the limitation and suggestions, the next chapter, as I told you, both in the case when you were writing your introduction chapter as well as when you were writing your literature review chapter, that you will collect the details of author, year, and you will collect the citation also. So, now it is turn to prepare the chapter of references or bibliography. So, whatever direct citations or whatever direct literature you have accessed, you must cite this in the form of references. If indirectly some literature has been accessed or knowledge has been taken from anywhere, that should be given in the form of bibliography. And after preparing that chapter, the next is you should give certain appendices, and these appendices are related to if you have used any test or if any picture or anything which is relevant to your research or which you want to exhibit while preparing your report, or if you want to give some detail to the reader of your research report, that can be included in the form of appendix. And by this way you will prepare the research report for dissertation, for major and minor research projects, and for your PhD research thesis. As I told you in the beginning, that after giving details related to these research reports, I will describe how you can write the research paper. Research paper is not a very detailed research report. Research paper is most of the time written maximum in 1500 to 2000 words. So, in this there will be a continuous flow of material. We will not segregate it into the form of chapters, rather the research paper will go in the same coherence. We will start first, we will put up the abstract. After first we will write the title, then abstract, and after writing the abstract there will be flow of introduction. And in the case of dissertation or research report, the size of introduction may be larger in comparison to the research paper. In the research paper you will very briefly write everything what was written in detail in the thesis or research report. So, in the research paper you will not go for introduction for more than 1 or 2 pages, and same is the case in the continuity. You will go for the literature review. In the literature review also you will not take more than 1 or 2 pages, and in the case of research paper you will include the most relevant one researches, and you will simply write what was research and what kind of sample it was and what were the findings and how it is relevant to your study. So, by this way you will present the literature review, and briefly you will give the research methodology with your problem, objective and hypothesis, and lastly you will give the brief detail in the tabular, in the graphical or any other manner presentation of your results and findings. And once you have completed that, you will either go simultaneously for discussion, or you can give an additional part as discussion, and at the end of your research paper you need to include the references. So, this is pattern for writing the research paper. So, we have given the complete detail how you can write the research report in the form of research paper, the research report for the dissertation, the research report for the PhD thesis, and the research report for major and minor research projects. So, here it is conclusion of the complete research methodology. I am really thankful to all of you for watching this, or I am concluding session here. Thank you very much. Thank you.